The cold ceramic floor against my cheek is the first thing I register. A numb anchor in the swirling chaos of my head. My phone lies face down beside me, screen dark, a small black rectangle holding the precise image that shattered everything. The air tastes like dust and disbelief. My hands, when I finally manage to push myself up, are shaking so violently I can't hold the phone steady. The image, it sears behind my eyelids even when I look away. It was a promotion. A simple social media post from the little alteration boutique downtown. They did beautiful work, painstaking tailoring, delicate beadwork. I'd trusted them with the most important garment of my life. And there it was. Not on me. Not on me, but unmistakably mine. The intricate lace on the bodice, the unique way the train bustled, the specific shade of ivory that had taken me weeks to find. My dress. But on a body that wasn't mine. A body I knew. A face I knew. His mistress. Standing in my wedding dress. In the alteration shop. Looking triumphant. The scream didn't come out as a sound. It was more like an implosion inside my chest, a silent, crushing force that stole all the air and left me gasping on the floorboards of my own hallway. The world tilted. The walls seemed to breathe, the familiar photographs on the wall. Us, smiling, naive, suddenly mocking specters. The dress. My dress. A sacred thing. A symbol of promises whispered under an arc of flowers. Violating it like this, it wasn't just an affair anymore. It was sacrilege. A deliberate defilement of everything we were supposed to be. And the boutique, bless their oblivious hearts, had posted it online as a showcase of their work. Another beautiful bride getting ready for her special day. The caption probably read. I hadn't read the caption. The image was enough. More than enough. It was everything. And nothing. Let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps me more than you know. Our life had been comfortable. That's the word that comes to mind now, and the sheer inadequacy of it makes me want to laugh. A harsh, broken sound that catches in my throat. Comfortable. We had the house, the cars, the 2.5 kids, well, almost 2 kids and a dog, close enough. We had the routines, the Friday night takeout, the Sunday morning papers, the shared quiet in the evenings. We built it piece by piece, brick by brick, choice by choice. I thought it was a fortress. Impenetrable. Built on a foundation of shared history that stretched back over a decade. We met in college, clumsy and hopeful. Dated through our 20s, figuring things out, supporting each other through first jobs and family dramas. We weren't the couple with the fiery, all-consuming passion, maybe. We were steady, reliable, like an old, comfortable armchair. You sink into it, you feel safe. You don't question its existence. You just assume it will always be there. And the dress. Oh, the dress. Finding it had been an event. Not the first one I tried, or the 10th. It was the 15th, or maybe the 20th. My mother was there, teary-eyed. My best friend was there, practical and supportive. I remember the feel of the silk, cool and heavy against my skin. The way the lace felt delicate under my fingertips. Looking in the mirror, I hadn't just seen a bride. I'd seen the woman who was about to step into her forever. It wasn't just a pretty dress. It was the physical embodiment of a promise, a future, a sacred bond. It hung in our closet for years, encased in plastic, a silent sentinel of our commitment. Sometimes, on an anniversary or just a random Tuesday when I was feeling nostalgic, I'd open the closet door, pull back the plastic, and just look at it. Touch the lace. Remember that day. The feeling of absolute certainty. The feeling of being chosen and choosing back. He was Mark. Mark was solid, dependable, quiet mostly. He worked hard, provided for us. He wasn't overly affectionate, not prone to grand romantic gestures, but he was there, present. He'd listen when I talked about my day. He'd fix things around the house without being asked. He was the kind of man you build a life with, not the kind you had a whirlwind romance with. And that was okay. More than okay. It felt like real love. The quiet, Deep kind that sustains you through the mundane years. We talked about the future, about raising our kids, about growing old together. It wasn't exciting, perhaps, to an outsider. But to me, it was everything. It was my world. The phone screen glowed, accusing. The photo was still there. I hadn't imagined it. The Alteration Boutique's Instagram page. Public. For anyone to see. And anyone would see. Friends, family, people who had been at our wedding, people who had seen me in that very dress. They would see her, standing in my dress, in a place where my dress had been carefully fitted to my body for my wedding day. The sheer audacity, the lack of respect, the utter, horrifying disregard for me, for our history, for the very vows the dress represented. My breath hitched. It wasn't just a picture. It was proof. Proof of a betrayal so deep, so casual, so arrogant, it defied comprehension. He hadn't just broken his vows, he had paraded the instrument of those vows before his mistress. He had allowed her to put on my skin, my symbol, my past, present, and future as his wife. I sat there, cross-legged on the floor, the chill seeping through my jeans, and scrolled through the comments under the photo. Most were innocuous. Beautiful work. Stunning dress. Congratulations to the bride. But then I saw one. A friend of mine. Wait, is that Mistress's name? And is that my name, Mistress? The comment was hours old. Others were starting to notice. The word was spreading. Panic seized me then. Not just the personal horror of betrayal, but the public humiliation unfurling in real time, online. My marriage wasn't just dying, it was being dissected in the digital town square, with my wedding dress as the star exhibit. I had to call him. My fingers fumbled with the phone. His name on the screen felt alien. What do you even say? Hey, honey, just wondering why your mistress is wearing my wedding dress on Instagram? I called. And he answered, sounding normal. Too normal. Hey, he said, his voice calm, unsuspecting. Or maybe pretending. Mark. My voice was a thin, reedy sound I didn't recognize. Are you having an affair? A beat of silence. Long, deafening. Then a sigh. A sound of weary resignation? Annoyance? Where's this coming from? The alteration shop. I choked out, the words burning my throat. The one who did my dress. They posted a picture. Of her. In my dress. Silence again. He didn't deny it. He didn't gaslight me. Not initially. He just froze. I could hear the static on the line, the sound of his world crashing down on his end, mirroring mine. Then came the scramble. The frantic attempts to backtrack. It's not what it looks like, the oldest lie in the book. She just needed to try on a dress. For something. And mine was available. Available? My wedding dress? Available? The sheer absurdity would have been comical if it weren't so devastating. Available? I repeated, my voice rising, cracking. My wedding dress was available for your mistress to try on? At the place where it was fitted to me. He started to yell then. Deflection. Attack. Why are you checking my phone? Why are you online snooping? He didn't yell about the affair. He didn't yell about the dress. He yelled about me finding out. About me seeing the picture. It was my fault somehow. My intrusion into his carefully constructed lie was the real offense. The next few days were a blur of pain and confusion. He left the house. Didn't come back that night. I stayed in our bed, the sheets smelling of him, feeling utterly hollowed out. The dress hung in the closet, a silent, accusing presence. Every time I looked at the closet door, I saw that image. Her. In my dress. I called the alteration shop, my voice shaking. I saw your post online. With the wedding dress? The woman on the other end was cheerful, oblivious. Oh yes. Beautiful gown, wasn't it? Such a classic. Yes, I managed. It's my dress. A pause. Confusion. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't understand. We fitted it for the bride-to-be. The bride-to-be, I repeated numbly, is not me. She's wearing my wedding dress. From my wedding to her fiancé, my husband, the cheerfulness evaporated, replaced by shock. Then, a dawning horror.
Oh,
Oh my God.
I,
I had no idea. He brought her in, said she was his fiancée, that he wanted to surprise her with the alterations, said it was a family heirloom, that his first wife passed away. Passed away. He told them I was dead. The phone slipped from my grasp again, clattering against the floorboards. Passed away. He didn't just erase our marriage, he erased me, declared me deceased to facilitate his grotesque charade. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was a complete and total annihilation of my existence within his narrative. The early struggles were just trying to breathe, trying to stand upright. The physical pain was real, a constant ache behind my ribs. My appetite vanished. Sleep was impossible, haunted by images of her, of him, of the dress, of that sickening lie. She passed away. Friends reached out, tentative, hearing whispers, seeing the comments on the boutique's posts that hadn't been taken down yet, the shop unsure what to do. I couldn't talk to them. The shame was a physical weight, pressing down on me. He finally agreed to meet, with a mediator present. He brought his lawyer. I went alone. I still felt like I was moving through thick, opaque water. He looked different. Hardened. He didn't apologize. He didn't explain.
he just talked about assets.
Division. Logistical details. As if the past decade, the promises, the dress, the declaration of my death, meant nothing. Just numbers on a spreadsheet. The dress, I said, the first time I spoke clearly. What about the dress? He shrugged. A casual, dismissive gesture that felt like a punch. It's just a dress. We can figure out its value. Value. I stared at him, aghast. It's not about the value. It's about what it represents. It's my dress. She wore my dress. His lawyer leaned forward, a shark in a suit. Mrs., my last name, while we understand this is emotionally difficult, the dress is an asset acquired during the marriage. Its disposition can be negotiated. Negotiated. My identity, my history, reduced to a line item. The rage started then. A slow, simmering heat beneath the frozen surface of my grief. The challenges mounted. He started playing dirty, freezing joint accounts, threatening to fight for custody of the kids, even though they were clearly thriving with me. Spreading rumors that I was unstable, that I was the one who had ruined everything. He twisted the narrative, portraying himself as the victim of a crazy, jealous wife. And the dress incident? A misunderstanding, a harmless mistake twisted out of proportion. The social media post? An invasion of his privacy. Every day was a battle. Legal letters arrived, thick envelopes filled with cold, sterile language that chipped away at my sanity. I hired my own lawyer, a sharp woman named Sarah, who looked at me with fierce, protective eyes. She listened patiently as I recounted the story, the dress, the passed-away lie. He really told them you were dead? She asked, her voice low. Yes, I whispered. She nodded slowly, a thoughtful look on her face. That's significant. Significant. It felt like the understatement of the century. It felt like attempted murder of my identity. The public aspect of the boutique photo was a constant thorn. People whispered. Some looked at me with pity, others with judgment. The feeling of being exposed, of having my deepest pain become public gossip, was unbearable. I wanted to hide, to disappear. But I couldn't. Not with kids. Not with a life I had to salvage. The deepest crisis hit when I felt completely cornered. His tactics were relentless. He was richer, better connected. He seemed determined to crush me, not just divorce me. The legal fees were mounting. My energy was draining away. I felt like a small boat in a hurricane, tossed about by forces far stronger than me. The thought crossed my mind, fleetingly, terribly, that maybe giving up was easier. Just let him have what he wanted. Fade away, like he'd told the alteration shop I already had. One night, scrolling mindlessly online, avoiding the reality of my life, I saw the alteration shop's post again. It was still up, They had edited the caption, removing the bride-to-be part, adding a note that they were investigating a discrepancy, but the photo remained. Her. In my dress. And then something shifted. A cold calm settled over me. I stopped seeing the photo as a source of shame and pain. I started seeing it as evidence, as his mistake. He thought he was so clever. He thought he could control the narrative, paint me as the hysterical wife. But he'd been monumentally, stupendously careless. He'd involved a third party. He'd allowed a physical, tangible symbol of his deceit to be photographed and posted publicly by a reputable local business. He hadn't just cheated. He'd left a flashing neon sign pointing to his infidelity and his subsequent lie about my death. The feeling wasn't anger anymore, or sadness. It was something colder, harder, strategic. He had used my dress, my history, my existence as props in his lie. Now, I would use his monumental error as the key to dismantling him. I called Sarah the next morning. My voice was different, stronger,
calmer.
Sarah, I said, I have an idea. I explained about the photo, about the shop owner confirming he'd lied about me being dead, about how public the post was. Sarah listened, tapping a pen against her notepad. Her eyes widened slightly as I spoke. He thought he was so smart, I said, a chilling lack of emotion in my voice. Bringing her there, using my dress, lying about me being dead. But he didn't count on them posting it. He didn't count on it staying up. He didn't count on me seeing it. And he didn't count on me using it. My turning point was absolute. It wasn't about getting back at him in a petty way. It wasn't about hurting him emotionally. He clearly didn't have much emotional depth left to hurt. It was about justice. About correcting the narrative. About using the weapon he had carelessly left lying around to ensure he faced the full, public consequences of his actions. He wanted to erase me? I would ensure he was exposed. The plan was simple, cold, and effective. It centered entirely on that photograph and the alteration shop's unwitting role. First, I instructed Sarah to subpoena the alteration shop's records. The date he brought the mistress in. The name he used for her. He'd used her real name, another careless error. The confirmation from the owner, in writing, that he had presented the mistress as his fiancée and claimed his first wife, me, was deceased. Second, I contacted a few key people. Not gossips, but people who were respected in our shared community. Friends who had been hurt or confused by his rumors. Colleagues of his who valued integrity. I didn't spread rumors myself. I simply shared the photograph. Shared the facts. This is my dress. This is his mistress. He took her to the alteration shop I used. He told them I was dead. And they posted it. The effect was immediate and devastating. The photograph, coupled with the undeniable facts and the confirmation from a neutral third party, the shop owner, spoke volumes. It wasn't my word against his anymore. It was photographic, documented proof of his calculating cruelty and lies. The whispers turned into a roar. His colleagues were appalled. His friends were disgusted. The social consequences started hitting him hard. Then came the climax. Not in a courtroom, not in a shouting match. It happened when Sarah sent his lawyer the evidence. The subpoenaed records. The alteration shop owner's signed statement. Copies of the social media post, and the comments. And a draft of a legal filing outlining a case not just for divorce, but for emotional distress, defamation for claiming I was dead, and potentially fraud. The filing wasn't just a threat. It was a promise to air every single detail, the affair, the dress, the lie about my death, the public humiliation, in open court, inviting the media storm he desperately wanted to avoid. We attached the photo as an exhibit. Exhibit A, the indisputable proof of his deceit, delivered by his own hand, or the boutique's Instagram feed, which amounted to the same thing. His lawyer called Sarah. The tone was no longer aggressive. It was panicked. They wanted to talk. They wanted to settle. Immediately. Quietly. The screaming wasn't him yelling at me. It was the sound of his carefully constructed world imploding. It was the frantic phone calls he must have made, The accusations hurled at the alteration shop, who had simply posted a picture of their work. The sudden realization that his arrogance had backfired spectacularly. He hadn't just been caught. He had delivered the rope for his own hanging. The picture he'd allowed to be taken, the picture meant to document the mistress's fitting, had become the centerpiece of his downfall. He screamed at his lawyer. He screamed at the situation. He screamed at the sheer, unbelievable fact that his own mistake, his casual cruelty regarding my dress, had become the definitive proof that cost him everything. He hadn't anticipated the boutique posting. He hadn't anticipated me seeing it. He hadn't anticipated me, the woman he'd tried to erase, using that single image to bring his entire facade crashing down. He was blindsided not by some clever detective work on my part, but by his own astonishing hubris and carelessness. He thought he could use my dress, my history, my life as a prop, and it turned out those props had a power he never understood. The aftermath wasn't easy. Divorce is never easy. There were still negotiations, legal documents, the painful disentangling of two lives that had been intertwined for so long. But the power dynamic had shifted completely. The photograph, the lie about my death, the sheer public nature of his betrayal, it all served as undeniable leverage. He settled. Generously. More than generously. He gave me the house, significant financial assets, and agreed to terms regarding the children that were entirely in my favor, without a fight. He wanted it to go away. He wanted the photo, the story, the public shame to vanish. He couldn't make it vanish, not entirely, but he could pay to stop it from being dissected in court. The mistress faded away. I heard rumors, of course, that the public exposure, fueled by that infamous Instagram post, had made their continued relationship untenable. That she hadn't signed up for this kind of drama, especially not drama centered around a dead woman's wedding dress. Poetic, in a grim sort of way. She got the dress fitting, but not the wedding. And the dress? I considered burning it, shredding it, selling it. But in the end, I couldn't. It wasn't just his symbol of betrayal anymore. It was also a symbol of a time that was real, even if the promises were broken. It was a symbol of my choice, my hope, my history. It was mine before he ever tainted it. I took it out of the plastic bag. The silk was still cool, the lace still delicate. I looked at it, really looked at it, not as a wound, but as an object. A beautiful object. It didn't belong to him. It didn't belong to her. It belonged to the woman I was and the woman I was becoming. I decided to donate it. Not to just any charity shop. To a place that helped women escaping abusive relationships. Maybe, just maybe, someone who had been hurt, someone who had lost everything, could find a small piece of joy or hope in wearing a beautiful dress on a day when they chose to build a new, better future. A future free from lies and betrayal. Free from men who declared you dead. The cold rage subsided eventually, replaced by a quiet strength. I hadn't just survived. I had navigated a storm he created and found my way to shore, using the very debris he'd scattered to build my raft. His arrogance, his assumption that he could violate something sacred so carelessly, was his undoing. He thought a dress was just fabric. He thought my life was just a story he could rewrite. He was wrong. The dress had a story of its own, and it refused to be silenced. Just like me. If this story hit close to home, I'd love to hear your version. Thanks for being here. Subscribing helps bring more of these to life.